Hey everybody, Joe Horn here. I just wanted to hop on and talk to our digital family for a minute if it looks like I'm weeping. I've been wobbly like a little baby all day. I got my Armor of God t-shirt on, and I had different plans today and God completely interrupted them. You know, I've been on the warpath. We're out here at Whispering Ponies Ranch, praying over the grounds, getting ready for our next big camping season this year, praying over the kids that are going to come, praying that God would do what he always does, and that is divine appointment after divine appointment. And I'm going to share some things that are really transparent with you all. I can't just say our Skywatch family anymore because we have people now that are connecting with us through the ranch, and also the brand new TV program, Life TV now, that launched in January that I host. And that program has more of a focus on health. It's a little bit of a departure from what Skywatch TV focuses on. But nevertheless, my family, the Horn family, God is continuing to network through all kinds of ministries. So when I just say to our Skywatch family, people are like, wait a minute, what's that? So yeah, now it's Skywatch TV family, WPR family, Life TV Now family, Defender Publishing family. I'm going to share some things with you that I am usually way more concealed about, and not for the purposes of being pretensive or pretending as though I'm impervious to trial or difficulty. I feel like everybody carries a lot. And so dumping on them is to just add to their dog pile. And I try to be a source of inspiration and encouragement to people every week during the many platforms that we do content as a family on. And so this is a bit more of a vulnerable moment that I'm having here. I'm going to disclose some things, in part just to be transparent and real with you all. It is no secret that when we lost my father in 2023, that our family went into what has remained one of the most difficult seasons of our entire ministerial career. And today is no exception. You know, sometimes people will say, hey, now that things are getting back to normal, or, now, time heals all wounds. How you guys doing? And if you've ever lost somebody that was your hero, mentor, moral compass, ministerial partner, you can't, maybe for you that's a spouse, maybe, you've lost one of your children and you've thought to yourself, this just shouldn't be any parent's cross to bear, outliving one of, your children. Whatever your circumstance, I know that a lot of you out there relate to our sense of just continued loss. My father's handprints were all over everything that exists here, the ranch, the TV programs. So you can't take 7 steps without a memory, a moment. While I have tried to physically and spiritually and mentally and emotionally carry all of the responsibilities that he left behind, there's just no being prepared for what I've been dealing with. It has taken a toll on my health. It has absolutely taken a toll on my energy. It has taken a toll on my family. Everyone feels it. God has continued to be faithful. He's keeping all of our businesses and ministries in the black, in large part now on the non-for-profit end, giving and people's sense of charitable support for the kids of Whispering Ponies Ranch. And so none of this would be alive as a result of Joe Horn's business acumen. I continue to give God credit for all of that. I would love to tell you that I've been a perfect poster child for how to do life under cataclysmic stress without it affecting me. But it has. I have done everything that I can do from a spiritual warfare standpoint to pray down intrusive thoughts that interrupt, ministry momentum. The lies that the enemy tries to constantly peddle about finances and, solvency and, every emotional level about whether you're failing or succeeding in ministry to keep all of this alive. It's been very difficult. Last night I had a dream, and I wasn't sure if I was going to share this with you, but for those that know me know that yesterday I was saying a lot of stuff about just being absolutely tapped. Praying over the grounds, getting ready for camp. That always fills my soul. It fuels my resolve. It turns me into a warrior again when I think about the little children that come to Whispering Ponies Ranch. Once you see their transformations, once you see what God does in their lives, it's just, to me, it's the oxygen that carries us through the rest of the year when we're dealing with just ministerial difficulties and continued challenges, both financially and shadow banning. And anyway, I had this dream last night. I have only told my wife this dream. My own family members, my siblings don't know about this dream. But I had this dream last night after a long day of contacting some of my close friends like Shelley Joby. This is a woman who is very smart. She dealt with Sjogren's autoimmune disease for over 20 years. She was doing eye drops multiple times a day, and God showed her how to heal. And so she's become one of my allies in natural and holistic health messaging and teaching, and she's helped me a ton, with supplements. And she's just a smart gal, but she knows how to do spiritual warfare. I actually met her because of our good friends, Will Johnson. They come in every year and they hold one of the Royal Family Kids camps here on the grounds. Sorry, I'm distracted because people keep texting me and I have to swipe the things away. It's distracting. But anyway, some of my close friends, I'm telling them yesterday, I'm about tapped. I don't know where any more wherewithal. I feel like a dry prune in the Sahara Desert, trying to squeeze juice out of it, just tapped. And I've got people counting on me, and I'm resolved that we're going to have camp. I've got things going on in my body these are things that at one time were put to rest or much better because of my diet lifestyle, which has not changed at all. But as you can see, I feel like when I see myself on camera, I look exhausted. People tell me, no, Joe, no, I wouldn't have noticed. No, I see it, man. I look exhausted. And I've been doing a lot of things over the last few years, even in the lead up to my father's departure, in trying to help him with both his health and his retirement that never happened. I'm indescribably spent. And the stuff that keeps me going is I just refuse, as long as I'm alive, to stop fighting for children. So last night, after a long day of reaching out to those that know me the most, to describe, how thin my reserves have become, how depleted I have felt, they're praying for me. And not just, transcendentally, but really praying for me that God would show me breakthrough. So I go to bed last night, and again, as God is my witness, my wife is the only one that has heard about this dream. I have this dream, and I haven't even recited the dream enough to get all of the details, certainly recalled. There could be moments later where I'm like, oh, I forgot about this important part. But here's the dream without being rehearsed. And this was one of those vivid dreams that I woke up crying about. I've been a wobbly mess all day. I go to sleep, and I have this vivid dream that feels realer than real life. And I already know that a lot of you watching this are going to know what I mean when I say that. Realer than real life. Colors are more tangible. What's happening in the dream feels more real than a lot of the days we're living in here, in reality. Here's the plot. I am in jail for things that I'm not guilty of. And I want to say that it was something trivial like, and you're welcome to laugh, but in the dream I kept thinking, what was it, unpaid parking tickets? Which, I live out in the middle of nowhere. I don't even know where I would acquire parking tickets. But anyway, in the dream, suddenly I'm in jail. It's a misunderstanding. It has something to do with unpaid parking tickets. It's pretty trivial, but I know in the dream that this isn't something I've done. There's a misunderstanding. But in the dream, I'm carrying out this jail sentence for someone else. And it's only like a 5-day thing. So I know going in, this is not a long sentence. I'm going to be here for a few days. I go in, and for some reason they have one big cell block with all the men, and then down the hall there's another cell block with all the women. So we weren't in like individual cells. We were like sharing with, let's say, 8 or 10 other people. Down the hall, it's obvious to me that the women are very hostile towards the men, and we're not allowed to interact. There's gangs and cliques, and this person has this person's back, this one has somebody else's back. And it's obvious right away, because I'm like the oldest, gray beardy guy in there. It's very obvious that I'm like not wanted. I'm the weak. I got issues with my bones, borderline osteoporosis. There's a whole bunch of stuff. I continue testing, diet, lifestyle, believing, working on my health. But anyway, in this cell block, I realize I'm like the old, weak, gonna get beat up guy is what's gonna happen if I cross anyone. But I realize that if I posture my weakness, they'll be on to me. So I'm in this cell block, and I'm posturing very much that I can handle things. I can take care of myself. There's no fear in my eyes. Somebody tries to test me, and I posture, and they buy the bluff. And I'm like, but man, why am I here? I keep asking people on the other side of the bars, some of the guards, can you please go? Aren't I supposed to get a phone call? Like, shouldn't I have an audience with somebody that can tell me why I'm here? What is it, unpaid parking tickets? Why am I here? Now, this is where the dream becomes hard for me to explain without probably breaking down. They bring in a little boy, and I have no idea why this little boy is now being put in a cell block with adult men. His name is Noah. I don't know how I know that. He's this blonde little boy that looks like maybe he's between 8 and 10. And I can see these full-grown adult men whispering. They have malevolent plans for Noah. And over my dead body, this is going to happen, okay? So my sense of posturing changes immediately. Now, Noah is a hard kid. He's not going to let on that he's been wounded, but I can see this kid has been traumatized, brutalized. This poor kid, he's wrecked because of what he's been through. And so his whole persona is, I'm not afraid of nobody in here, but he's just this little 8 to 10-year-old boy. And I can see that some of these guys are going to capitalize on an opportunity to take advantage of Noah. Now the scene changes, and now suddenly Noah is talking to a couple of these guys, and they're being very kind to him. But I can tell what's happening is that Noah is offering himself in exchange for protection. And again, over my dead body, this is going to happen. So I become to capacity filled with, man, I am wore out. I am not in the mood to play games. I am at the end of my rope. I'm out of patience. I'm capable of doing harm. This is not happening to Noah. So I know I'm going to get wrecked. These guys are younger, bigger. They've got friends. I'm alone. So I walk up to Noah, and I take Noah by the arm, and I put him behind me. And I start telegraphing with my body language that I know exactly what these older men are up to, and it is not happening. And I don't care if I'm alive or dead at the end of this event. If I'm alive, this is not happening. Now, it works. In the dream, it works. They're kind of not sure what to make of this tired older guy that looks like he's got nothing left in the tank to lose. And I don't want to get into the specifics. There were things said, and I postured. They knew at the end of that interaction that if I'm alive, this thing is not happening with Noah. And just to be clear, again, I know what Noah is doing is he's offering himself in exchange for protection, or the perception of protection. Now, they buy it. They leave Noah alone. There was a scrap. I did take damage, and I also both dealt damage. But I came out of it, and my chops were enough. In this stupid, fantastical, what in the world does this mean dream, I had done enough. Now Noah is seeing me differently. I start to see Noah as a vulnerable, scared child. And right about the time Noah starts to believe that if he stays next to me, he's going to be okay. He's going to be okay. My brain shifts to, but I'm getting out in a couple of days. What is Noah's fate? What becomes of Noah? I might get out. Stupid, trivial parking tickets. But what becomes of Noah? What's he going to do if he stays inside? And I'm not there. So somehow, you know how dreams are, where you just kind of inherently know details, but there wasn't really a scene sequence that played out where you learned said details. But somehow now I'm being discharged. And these city officials are looking at me with this knowing grin because they know what I'm thinking. They know that I have no interest whatsoever in Noah staying in this system without me there to take care of him. And so I don't know how I know this, but there are some court people and some ladies, and they're petitioning for me on my behalf. And I've not asked anybody for this, but one of the ladies comes up to me and she says, hey, and I cannot remember if it was page 19, article 19, maybe if you're a child advocate and you know what this means, page 19, subsection 19, paragraph 19, the 19th question. I have no idea what this means. But 19, she says something like page 19, subsection 19, I think you're going to like what you see. I remember her saying that. I think you're going to like what you see. And she hands me these discharge papers, and I know that this, sorry, I'm getting phone calls. Hopefully it's not deleting my video. Somehow I know that what these people have done for me on my behalf is they've petitioned the state, and they're trying to get, either some version of foster or adoption set up for me so that my wife and I can take Noah home. You got to realize, other than what I do at Whispering Ponies Ranch, it's never been on my radar, adopting a child or anything like that. Not yet. It's one of those things my wife and I have talked about after our kids are a little bit older, maybe praying about. So, symbolically, I'm just telling you this happened this morning, and I woke up with such a this was something. God is telling me something. And I'm trying to just be open to what that lesson is. It could be metaphorical. I'm going to have to ignore all this stuff. Man, my phone never stops. Anyway, so she says, I think you're going to like what you see, page 19, subsection 19. And in my brain, I just know that they're advocating to try to get me Noah so that he's not stuck in this system without me there to make sure these malevolent actors don't have their way with Noah. And right as I'm fumbling through this series of papers, I'm looking for article 19, page 19. I went past it. I go back. I'm 19, what 19, what 19? And I wake up. And ladies and gentlemen, it was one of those things where I told my wife this morning, I said, I woke up so hard and so devastated that it wasn't real. Not the being in jail, it was still so real. It was still so in my system that, like, even though my logic is saying this is a dream, the cells of my body are still attached to this idea that Noah is still in there. And yes, I realize I'm probably going to post this, and this could have, people now wanting to psychologically evaluate what this means. Like, Joe's losing his mind here, that he knows, his logic knows this was a dream, and yet his brain is still, his cells are still, but I got to go back in and get Noah out of there. And I'm telling this to my wife. She's the first person, we were up before the crows this morning, which is pretty common. And I'm telling her this, and she said, Joe, but you see Noahs every year at Whispering Ponies Ranch. And I said, logically, you could already walk away with a lot, but I'm not willing to try to interpret this dream all at once. I'm okay with this being one of those that God absolutely rattled me with, that could have layers that take maybe years to play out if he tarries and I'm still alive. But, metaphorically, you could take what you already know about my life now. We stand in the gap for children. I wrote a book, Innocence Shattered, about the number of kids that come up missing every year from the foster care system. These are kids without a chain of custody. These are kids that have no known whereabouts and nobody looking for them. You know that I am a child advocate. My parents are child advocates. We produce a 6-part series that now has gone on to win awards called Rescue Us, that details all of this and also highlights what we do at Whispering Ponies Ranch and how we stand in the gap for kids. But I think there are layers to this. I think that there are layers to this because, and I'm going to collapse this because I could go on for another 30 minutes. I then discover a pastor, Pastor Rob Payne. Rob Payne. His middle name is Wood something. I just posted his sermon to Facebook because I thought it was absolutely beautiful and fabulous. But he comes across my feed this morning, and I take a listen, and it is just the most beautiful Easter Sunday message of hope and inspiration and living one's truth and being authentic. And it was like one of those beautiful ton of bricks that hits you in the chest, the kind that you welcome. I wept through the entire thing. I've shared it on my Facebook, and if this ends up, on the internet, I'll make sure that his message is in the links down below, or the comments down below. The link, I have people that help me with social media. The link in the comments down below, I think. But there are other layers to this. Me having told many of my closest allies just yesterday, please pray for me. I am indescribably beat up right now. Spiritually, the reserves, and I'm not going to go into a bunch of details, but I am overseeing what is probably unsustainable and way too much. And I have great staff. God has brought me some incredible people that have allowed me to delegate. But I was very, very, very over capacity when my father was alive, as was he. So you can imagine now not having him. Nobody has backfilled me completely. So I have just been, this is the hardest test so far of my life. And yet we're here. Skywatch is in the black. WPR is getting ready to fundraise for our camps this year. It's a continued fleece before the Lord, but he keeps providing exactly what we need. There's never a big surplus. There's never a giant deficit. There's only just exactly what we need, exactly when we need it, no more, no less. So I can never I can never like hang on to the rails and take a breather and go, okay, boys, we got a good year of solvency. It's just what we need when we need it. And I don't know if the part of the lesson is when I think I've been knocked down and the ref is doing the 8, 9, and he's about to count me out, that I wake up reinvigorated. But God knows how to talk to me. He knows how to reinvigorate me. And I got to tell you, this morning I am once again heartbroken in the most wonderful of ways, in anticipation for the kids that we're going to minister to this year. Noah could be symbolic of many Noahs or many young boys and girls that are stuck in systems with people that are malevolently taking advantage of them. And it regalvanizes my calling that as long as I'm alive, not on my watch, for every person that I can influence, for every convert I can make out of an adult that may have thought about being a child advocate, but the topic was too heavy, whatever all of that looks like. I woke up and like 98% of some health pains that this has been going on for a long time. In the last 3 months, some difficulties that have tried to resurface. And I know what it is. You cannot supplement your way out of chronic stress. You can't eat garden salads and heal under chronic stress. And I have also added to the dog pile of thoughts and feelings about my performance. Father, I should be at total peace at all times. I make the mistake of wringing my hands when giant financial things are imploding or they appear to be, and then you provide. And like, how many times am I going to inflict wounds, self-inflicted wounds, before I know that like if I've said this all year, this is my new moniker. If God is in a plan, you literally cannot stop it. If he's not in a plan, you literally cannot make it happen. And so this place is a constant sobering reminder that God will underwrite the things that he cares about. And he's going to water and he's going to support the things that he cares about. So let's just say I am learning at almost 50 years old how to do a lot of things without being able to lean on my dad. One of the most brutal lessons is to fully and unconditionally lean on my Heavenly Father. And I'll admit this, you can know things in your logic, you can know things scripturally, you can recite things, you can teach on walking in faith and all the things, and really mean it. And I know this next part's going to resonate with some of you. You can really mean it. But if the test that you've gone through was below that admission of the faith that you believe yourself to be walking in, it's possible that you still have yet to be stretched. And I'm just, if that's you out there today, Pastor Joe, hands going up all the way around the building. Yeah, I'm one of the first hands. I can profess and believe and restate and articulate and then practice to the best of my abilities faith and a belief in the things that God is going to underwrite. My carnal, finite, pin-headed flesh man struggles not to take that initial gasp every time something threatens our ministry model or something threatens our kids' camps or, yeah, but what are we going to do? And I don't know why, but I always go back to Gospel Bill. I grew up with Gospel Bill. If you don't know what it is was a kids program in the late 80s, early 80s, actually. It's kind of like Mr. Rogers or Lamb Chops. It was one of those real-life person dress-up as a gimmick, performative Christian television programs. And anytime there was calamity, this one guy with a beard, he would run in, Gospel Bill, Nicodemus is in town, oh, it's bad. And Gospel Bill would have to calm it. Nicodemus was like the evil protagonist that would try to trick kids and lie and use deceit. And Gospel Bill would have to calm him down. Now we know in the Word of God that we're not given a spirit of fear. And then therein would be the lesson. But sometimes I feel like I can't remember his name, but I'm the beardy guy that runs in, Gospel Bill, Nicodemus is in town. You know, my first initial is to hold breath and to hang on to the side rail. And it's just, it's a blemish in how I've handled things. And it has taken a toll on me and everybody around me. So I'm just, what all this means, look, you are our digital family, the Horn family, and all of the varying platforms where you wonderful people have patronized us and shown us love and support. You are our, I just have to say, digital family at this point. Or if I just say you're our family, you're our extended family. We welcome your prayers, continued prayers all the time. If you have thoughts about what you think this dream means, you're welcome to leave them in the comments. You'd be surprised. I read a lot of comments when I get a minute. I try always to participate. When we've asked people to weigh in on some of the polls we've done, I always try to be really personal and also live on my phone way, way more than is good for me. And it is not goofing around on social media. It is taking phone calls, talking to authors, setting up television programs, mining for content, reaching out to new ministries. My dad used to say, the minute you stop doing that, a lot of this stops. And I didn't understand fully what he meant because he was on the phone all the time. Now I totally get it. I would say that 75% of my existence right now in terms of ministerial work is phone calls. It's just the minute they stop, so does a lot of other stuff. But I'm asking God in this season of my life for the kind of agency that would allow us to, continue movement away from things that are not effective in terms of our approach to ministry, and to make me discerning when it comes to the things that are. And we have already changed a lot of what we're doing at Skywatch Television. Oh, there's a text I want to see. My brother-in-law says, thanks, bro, great message. He's already watching the sermon that I sent him this morning, the one that I'll leave in the comments below. But, Skywatch TV has had to change a lot from the era when book package participations were kind of the foundational benchmark of how we were able to buy network TV and stay on the air. Almost nobody's reading books anymore. They want drive-by theology. They've messaged us. We want the content. We want you to preach. We want to hear you guys teach and preach. And Skywatch is almost becoming more of a digital church, really, these days. And that's why when you do see a book offer, it's usually done in very minimal amounts of time. If you believe in the vision of this ministry, you can certainly support us with this book. But it's not a 3.5-minute infomercial about all the stuff you're going to get free. Those are pretty radical changes we've made over the last couple of years in response to feedback we're getting from viewers, but also just as a matter of prayer and discernment and a want to prioritize a focus on things we think God is moving us towards. And the words in all caps, preach, 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 keep coming at us. So we adapt the platform, and it has remained in the black. So we are now in negotiations. This isn't even something I've talked with half my staff about, but as we wrap up, my stream of consciousness feels like maybe I would tell you this. We're in negotiations right now with Impact Network. It's another massive network. I want to say from memory, it's between 50 and 70 million homes that would have a potential to reach families that maybe we don't reach now with the gospel message of Jesus Christ and Him crucified and the good work that's happening at Whispering Ponies Ranch. But like every financial decision, we have to pray seriously about whether that is truly expansive or detrimental to the budget that we have. So we've added several new networks over the last year and have done it patiently, pragmatically, strategically, and we are still in the black. And, you could infer that God is reaching those millions of new homes with his message, and that their participation in the belief in the vision is underwriting it. So, friends, I did not have a script. I don't have a post-it note down here that I'm looking at. Make sure you mention these following. Don't forget this thing. We are right now cleaning the grounds, painting some of the buildings at Whispering Ponies Ranch. We're praying over absolutely everything. We're going to be oiling doorknobs imminently. You're going to see that we're going to grab family members and staff. We're going to walk over the property and sing, "We are standing on holy ground." God's giving us inspirational ideas like that. Like, do that. You've never done that before. To sing hymnals with our extended online audience over the grounds. That's going to happen. So I'd love your thoughts. And the dream. Maybe I was just meant to share this because one of you out there watching this is going through something that you needed. Maybe a sobering reminder that when you think you're just about counted out, then God has a way of, raising you again for another war, another battle. We're getting ready to meet a lot of Noahs. And over my dead body will they be harmed. If I have anything to say about it, if I have any presence in their life or any influence over their circumstances. So, we love you guys. This was a scriptless stream of consciousness coming from me. And I promised you all when my father passed away, you may remember this if you've been longtime followers of our ministry, I told you all that we would be doing a lot more interpersonal content. We'd be inviting you into our homes. We've done that. We've had you into our homes at holidays. We'll probably do it again this year. Donna Howell is working on a project for me right now. She's working on a project right now that I'm directing her towards, that I feel is a God thing that he is guiding us towards. And it is a totally brand new venture that I don't want to get into specifics about today, but it is a content reveal that's coming very soon. You're going to see our family featured in ways you've never seen us. Games, hanging out with our kids, some challenges, just a whole brand new effort to reach this new generation of people that need to be entertained in like 2 seconds or they're not paying any attention to your message. Our family has dreamed for years. I will put this out there because I've said this before, but you guys, the Gregory Reeds of the world that might be listening, be praying about this. My family has dreamed for years about launching a kids-focused program. And no, I don't mean like a sit-down at a table panel program with monologues about, raising children, etc. That's kind of what Life TV Now is doing. I'm talking about a kids channel, like a Gospel Bill show, comedy, Bible verses. Think Veggie Tales meets Mr. Rogers meets puppets. A lot of this would be a throwback to the days when I was a kid. A lot of that stuff worked really well when we were kids, man. Live music, people dressed up as characters, like tying rubber balloons and having conferences and balloon giraffes and stuff. Having, full-on colorful three-dimensional kids participational conferences with bouncy houses and all kinds of games and gimmicks. And there were just people. Quick Draw Charlie was a guy that the world will probably never be able to look up. I don't even know if he exists online, but when I was a kid, there was this guy. He was an older guy, and he was a retired, I think he worked for Costco, but he was really good at drawing window murals. And he gave that gift to the Lord, and he called himself Quick Draw Charlie, and he'd wear a cowboy vest and a hat, and he had a bunch of markers, and kids would come up on stage, and I'm talking massive crowds of like 800 kids would come up on, one at a time. He'd come up on stage, and Quick Draw would have his pins right here on his holster. and he had that perfected cartoon drawing style that sorry, very distracted by my texts. He had perfected that cartoon style of animation that you would see back in the 80s and 90s when they were selling something at a discount at a grocery store. Think a cereal box type character. And so Quick Draw Charlie would have you come up on stage, and then everybody would clock him. And he would draw your picture as a kid in a cartoon version in less than, let's say, a minute and a half. Quick Draw Charlie, and then he'd roll it up for you. And then everybody would get a big Bible lesson for Quick Draw Charlie. He would incorporate, hey, little Susan, what are your likes and dislikes? What do you think about this? Do you like bicycles, trikes, or butterflies? I like butterflies. So then in the image, he would incorporate little butterflies like landing on her shoulder or something. Just super clever. I don't even know that the planet knows Quick Draw Charlie, but I have not lost any of that. And you all need to know, if you have seen me on Skywatch TV or anywhere else, or you've seen me do some stuffy health presentation about, COVID recovery or something to that effect, you're in for an enormous shock, because what you probably don't know, yes, you've seen me be a very serious child advocate. You've seen me handle really difficult conversations around trafficking. But what you've probably never seen is the kind of goofy hilarity, comedy, skit comedy, dry comedy, gimmick comedy, entertainment, live music, silly stuff for kids. Some of the Royal Family Kids camps get to see a bit of that when they come to our camps, because there are a couple of them that have asked me to MC the children's talent shows. And so they'll see me on a microphone being totally zany for the sake of the kids. But I've grappled for a long time with how to be able to do that without beclowning the chair of Skywatch TV. And I'm really coming into a season where I feel like God is propelling me toward that for the sake of the children, and to not be overly concerned about what some of that content that will exist in a completely different stream, means to a lot of the people that maybe have followed our family for years and years. But it is something that we've talked about for a long time, and now Donna is actually working on some of these skits, some of these scripts, and we don't really know exactly what shape it's going to take. We really don't. We don't know if it's just going to be silly all the time, or if it's going to be, set up in a baseball field and have three-legged sack races with our kids to see if the adults are still faster than the children. Who's got it? Egg toss type of stuff. And anyway, that's all I'm going to say about all that, because I'm just, at this point, you can see right away, I don't have a specific outcome, I don't have a specific methodology for that show in my mind, but I do have a very specific outcome, and that is for it to reach these kids that are never gonna watch a Skywatch TV program or a Life TV Now program. And I feel called towards it. And I think that's the thing that really trumps everything else. If you're wondering, you're talking about being spread thin, Joe. You're talking about, oh my gosh, these people, please give me just a second. And it's not just one, it's like a whole variety of bing, bing, bing. Yeah, I am spread super thin, and taking on Life TV Now has spread me even thinner. But this other thing, man, it doesn't even have a title yet. It's being developed now, but it's something my whole family, Donna Howell, my mom, all of us plan to be a part of. So there it is, folks. 45 minutes of unedited, unscripted stream of consciousness from Joe Horn. I had that dream. Today I'm feeling on a mission again as we ready for these kids' camps. Satan's plans for these kids get completely garroted, completely intercepted, shut down, intercepted. Every day that these kids come to Whispering Ponies Ranch. If anything I've said today has inspired you to want to support that ministry, I need to be very specific about this. Do not go to Life TV now with donations for the ministry that's taking place at Whispering Ponies Ranch. Don't go to Whispering Ponies Ranch directly to try to offer giving or support that way. Go specifically because of the relationship between Whispering Ponies Ranch and Skywatch TV. Skywatch TV is the non-for-profit charitable ministry that underwrites the expense to use Whispering Ponies Ranch at no expense to the ministries that we serve. So Royal Family Kids, forthechildren.org, Teen Reach, those ministries come at no cost to them. We provide all the meals, all the staff, all the amenities, all of the, from the swimming pool to the zip line to the overnight lodging to all of it. It is provided for them at no cost because of the charitable giving and the prayerful support from people just like you may be watching this video. So you would go to skywatchtv.com. You'll see a donate button or a learn more button at the top of the website that'll take you, and you can read about what happens at Whispering Ponies Ranch. Or you can just go to Skywatch TV, the mobile app at the App Store, and download that free. Just go to the App Store, look for Skywatch TV. There's a ton of archived programs at this point where you can type in Skywatch TV Whispering Ponies Ranch. Tons of archived programs from many, many years of what we do there and the kinds of wounded children that we serve and watch rehabilitated through the power of Jesus Christ. So anyway, love you guys. I think I've landed on our online family. How about that? Leave that in the comments below. I think I sorted that out in this video. We're going to just start probably referring to all of you as our online family, although that excludes the people watching some of this on the networks. You're going to have to help me just come up with something that it's for all of you all, because we have so many people that come to what we're doing here by way of the Defender website, or it's just lots and lots of different ways. Thank you for sitting through. For those that are still watching that haven't tapped out yet, thank you for letting me kind of dump. I needed this time today to just exclaim, my sisters will learn of my dream probably because of this video. Love you all. Be praying for Skywatch TV, Defender Publishing, Life TV Now, the Horn family, Whispering Ponies Ranch. And we'll be with you again shortly. Thank you.